Hey you guys, it's Peter, and welcome to my channel, Peterisms, where I tell stories of my life and just little things that I've learned as I've grown into the person that I am today. And it is 8:30 p.m. and it's like the sun is still out because it's that time of year in the Midwest when, you know, the sun stays out longer and longer and longer. So it doesn't feel that late. And I looked at the clock and I was like, is it really that late? And I have just today been going and going and going and going. And I thought, I'm not going to film a Peterisms video today. I'll just wait till tomorrow and I'll do one tomorrow. It's getting too late. And then I thought, you know what? No, I just want to take a couple moments and sit down and read some meditations and kind of think about the things. You know, often it's interesting because you guys are so wonderful in the comment sections, and you'll say, well, the comment sections of this video, section of this video, and you'll say, thank you so much, like I needed this meditation today, I needed to hear this today or whatever. But often, I don't go in and pick out the meditation before I sit down. I just kind of randomly pick two meditations, and today I'm picking two that I haven't read already today. I read some of my other ones, and so when I'm reading them on camera and when I'm kind of processing them, this is something I started about 2 months ago and I really enjoy doing it. When I'm sitting here reading them with you and then processing them for myself, and then you guys respond in the comment sections, you know, it's really healthy for me as well because I need to hear these meditations. I need to kind of think out loud, talk out loud about how I feel about it. And, you know, back in the day, like my friend Tanya and I, we always read the Codependent No More one, and we'll talk about it. I think it's called The Language of Letting Go. It's called The Language of Letting Go. I should know by now. It's my favorite. But anyway, you know, she has it and I'll have it, and often, you know, I'll say, oh, did you read the meditation for today? And she'll say, yeah. Or she'll say, no, what was it about? And I'll tell her, and we'll have a conversation about it. You know, I think that maybe, you know, this would be a good place to start if you're a couple or a family or whatever, is to sit down and maybe read a meditation, you know, at dinner time or at the end of the day or at the beginning of the day, whenever you have time to do that, and kind of just take 5 minutes to talk about it. You know, I know that when I worked in treatment, that was something that we did. When I was in treatment, that was something that we did. You know, we all got together as a group and we would read a meditation and then kind of talk about it for 5 or 10 minutes. Not forever, but 5 or 10 minutes, you know. And, you know, back in the day, we have this kind of like connotation of what meditation is today, that it is kind of directly related to Eastern religion, which it is. But it also means deep thought. It also means to deeply think about something. And to read one of these meditations and then to think deeply about it, I think is really helpful to our daily lives. At least it is for me. And sometimes it helps me, you know, it distracts me from things that are going on that maybe I need to think about something else for a moment, you know? So I want to read you these two. The first one that I'm going to read you is from the Daily Book of Positive Quotations. Now, I have literally just read the titles of each of these. I have not, like, I saw the title of the meditation, but I didn't go in and read the meditation. So I liked the titles of each of these. That's why I'm going to read these two. So May 22nd, Developing Character. This is the quote from Woodrow Wilson. If you will think about what you ought to do for other people, your character will take care of itself. Character is a byproduct, and any man who devotes himself to its cultivation, in his own case, will become a selfish prig. To develop our character, we should first aim to do right by others. Being good to others is an action. Becoming a good person is a result of this action. If your goal is merely to appear good in the eyes of others, we are acting selfishly, and little good comes from this. I will devote myself to helping others and not worry about whether I am perceived as a good person. My character will take care of itself if I take care of others. I love that meditation, you know, and being a person in recovery, we focus a lot of attention on service, and it's something that I have really focused on in the last 5 to 10 years, is really a being of service to other people. You know, I think it comes in many different ways, and I talked about this in my vlog last night, so I'm going to talk about it on here. My husband's one of his closest male friends, if not his closest male friend, was killed tragically in a car accident on Monday. And although I knew him as well, and I was, you know, friendly with him and friends, he was just in our house last weekend, it seems surreal. You know, I think that I brought it up in my meeting last night about what was going on and like what was my part in this and what did I need to do. And it was interesting, you know, hearing from other people, and friends of mine afterwards shared stories with me about being of service to their partner or their spouse in that time. And, you know, it's not just about sitting next to somebody and saying, what do you need from me? Of which I did to my husband. But it's a being of service, you know. My husband and I split a lot of duties around the house. And, you know, we do things like together, like we feed the dogs, we give Pee-Pee his medicine, little Pee-Pee who's sitting right next to me. We give him his medicine twice a day. You know, we take the trash out, we clean up the house, we do the sheets, you know, or wash the sheets, you know, once a week. We do normal stuff that every other couple does. The last couple days, I've really tried to just like do that stuff, you know? And so when he comes home, he can just be in his mind and text his friends and talk to his friends. Last night he was able to go over to a friend of his house. They kind of sat around and processed what was going on because it was so tragic and it was so quick. You know, I can in that moment, being of service, this doesn't make me a great person. This just makes me do the right thing, right? And that's like, take some stuff away from him. That, you know, he doesn't want to come home and feed the dogs. He doesn't want to come home and take the trash out. He doesn't want to come home and have to clean up, you know, the living room or change the sheets. And why should he have to in that moment? And I think it's little small things like that, you know, that is just doing those things for people. My friend Tanya is such a great example of this. And I've shared this story on here before, but I'm going to share it again. She and her husband were very, very close friends. I mean, like 30 years with another couple. And the husband of the couple had a brain tumor and brain disease. And so she one night, like, I was complaining all day long about just random BS in my life, right? And so she and I got together and we were, I had called her, I had texted her, and I was like, oh, I'm so over this, I'm so over that. This is, I think this was like 4 or 5 years ago. And so we got together that night for a fountain pop and we were driving around and she wasn't really saying anything and she was like kind of just listening to what I was complaining about. This moment, you know, when we talk about like that you can't change that quick, this moment changed me, literally that quick. So we're driving around and so we get to the gas station, I'm talking and we're walking inside and I said, so what did you do today? And she said, oh, I went over to so-and-so's house and I made them dinner, I brought them a movie to watch and I cleaned their house. And I like was just like stuck in my tracks, you know, like of my own selfishness, my own self-centeredness, that here I was complaining about all this kind of stuff, which was just really, it just was frivolous stuff. It just, in the grand scheme of things, it didn't mean anything. And I looked at her and I said, how do you get like that? You know, and Tanya's not somebody that's concerned about what other people think of her. Tanya's not somebody that is like concerned with, let me show you how great of a person I am. She just does things. She doesn't even tell people things, right? And, you know, she said, because that's what I was taught to do. And, you know, I want to be that. That's who I want to aim to be, not because of what other people will say about me, not because of how that looks to other people, because I think that most of our actions should be silent, you know, and I think that most of the things that we should do to be truly altruistic, to be people of character, is to act out of unselfishness and to be selfless and to think of others more, you know. There was another moment that happened with that whole situation. Right before he passed away, a friend of ours was asking, she lived in the neighborhood, and she was asking Tanya, like, is there anything that you, like, need me to do? And she said, yeah, like, their lawn needs to be mowed, and I don't have the time to do it right now. You know, if you could at some point in the next couple days go over there. I mean, it's not, there's no hurry if you could go over there. I don't know if it happened right before he passed or after, but it was around that time. And Tanya said, you know, I think that, like, if somebody could go over there and mow it. I think it was after he passed, because they were going to have, like, you know, after the celebration of life, people were going to come over there. Tanya went over there the next day to check in with her friends, and the lawn had been mowed. Like, this woman went and, like, no questions asked. She was like, yeah, sure. She went over there. She mowed it the next morning. It was done, the whole yard. Tanya said it looked great. She had weeded and everything. That's who I aim to be today, you know? I fall short of that sometimes, but silently in my moments, when we talk about humility, and we talk about integrity, and we talk about character, integrity, and humility are not things that are judged by what others can typically see. They are about who you are on the inside that nobody may ever see. They may never see that action, you know? Had Tanya and I not had that conversation that night, I would never have known that she went over there. What she did would have no bearing on my life whatsoever. And I truly think that I found out that night, because I do think that that for me was, whatever you believe in, that for me was a God moment of like, check yourself. You need to be a better human being on a daily basis. That's who I aim to be. I aim to be a person of character. I talk about this as well, you know, that my old sponsor used to always say to me, my sponsor that I had for like a majority of my life, you know, when I would walk in a room, I would walk down and I would have my eyes on the ground, and he would literally come to me and he would put my head up and he would say, when you walk in a room, you put your eyes up, you look at people eye to eye, you are a person of character today. You have worth, you have value, you are a person of character. Don't ever look at the ground like you have something to be ashamed of. You have nothing to be ashamed of today. You have prepared your life. You are a person of character today. And I think that we have to remember that, you know, and looking at people eye to eye. And I think that's very, very important. So I think that character is something that we build silently. It's not something that we tell everybody about, like, look at me, how great I am, you know? Although I was kind of talking about what I did for my husband, but that was just an example. I mean, I'm so wonderful. No, I mean, I think that those are small things that we can do. I heard this meditation, or I read this meditation on here, and the reason I was kind of sharing that was, I think it was on here that I read it, where it was talking about, like, when somebody's grieving and we say, like, what can we do for that person? Instead of asking that person, what do you need from me? Do you need me to do that? You know, just do it. Like, we don't think that way. Like, I grew up with a mother and an aunt that if somebody passed, they had a casserole, a loaf of bread, homemade loaf of bread, homemade cookies over their house. They were trimming the hedges. They were making sure that stuff was taken care of. They were going over there. They were taking the dogs out for walks. They just did the work. And that's so old school, small town. And it makes me sad a little bit that we've gotten away from all of that, you know, that we've gotten away from that kind of mentality. And, you know, maybe it's my generation, the generation that comes up behind, that we need to do more of that I need to do more of that. Not just to be a person of character, but to be more of service to anybody. To check in with our neighbors and ask them how they're doing on a daily basis, you know? And people that we see. I think that it's something that we could all work on a little bit, you know? I would say 5 or 6 examples in my life of people that I just think act altruistically. You know, I sat at my aunt's funeral, and one of her dear friends got up. My aunt and I was very, very close with. She was like second mother to me. And this woman was sharing things about my aunt that she had done that I never had any clue. I talked about this in my vlog back when my aunt passed. That volunteer stuff and all this stuff that she had been doing up to the time that she passed away, that I had no clue that my aunt had ever done. She didn't talk about it. She didn't say, oh, let me tell you what I did. I had no clue that she did that stuff, you know? And I'm sitting there, I'm just like, I knew that my aunt was a great person, but I didn't know that on that level, all the things that she did for others out of the kindness of her heart. She didn't want anybody to know about it. That was just things that she did, you know? So I think it's really a valuable lesson to all of us of how we can be of service, you know? And what does our true character inside of us speak of? The next meditation that I'm going to read to you, and I know this is running long, but is Learn the Art of Joyful Living. And I like the title of it, so I want to read it. It's May 22nd. And this is from The Journey to the Heart by Melody Beatty. And this is her companion book to, it's not The Language of Letting Go or Codependent No More. It's her second one. Okay. Learn the Art of Joyful Living. Let's pretend for a moment we have a friend who's with us much of the time. This friend watches us, watches our lives and circumstances, and comments. Oh, that's too bad. That's terrible. That's awful. You could be doing better. You're not doing very well. What's wrong with you? Why did you do that? This friend isn't very pleasant, but many of us have brought such a friend with us through much of our journey. That is so true, isn't it? I don't really have friends like this in my life anymore, but I have in the past, you know, and I've kind of just written it off, like, oh, they're just, you know what I mean? And I think there have been times when I've been that person too. Like I focus so much on trying to be positive on a daily basis today and choosing positivity because, I mean, at the end of the day, it's not a dress rehearsal. It, like, literally is not a dress rehearsal, you know? And I hate to say that was truly reminded of me 2 days ago, you know, but life is not, it's fragile, it's short, you know, that to get up and just be miserable and negative, like what for? You know, like what for? It really shows how ungrateful we are. If we wake up and we're negative and we lack gratitude, we're really showing how ungrateful we are for the life that we've been given. Unless you struggle really seriously with mental health issues that you just cannot help on your own, and then I beg you to please go see a professional. Now, let's imagine something different. Let's imagine a friend, a constant companion who laughs a lot. This friend laughs at traffic, laughs at delays, laughs at long lines, even laughs at setbacks. Of course, this friend doesn't mock us or laugh at us when we're in pain. Page turn. This friend is compassionate and gentle and has an open heart, but he or she helps us laugh even when we hurt. This friend has learned the art of joy, the art of living, and the art of living joyfully. Let's bring along the friend who knows the art of joyful living to help us learn the same. I love that meditation. That's so my friend Tanya, so much, you know? And Tanya is somebody that she can be going through the biggest tragedy of her entire life and she can look at it and she can pick out something. Yes, but that's kind of funny. At the same time, paying homage to what the tragedy is and what we're going through and being very real and very honest about the pain. But in finding, do you hear a little peepee over here snoring? But in finding the, you know, the humor and the true art of living in that as well. So I'm thankful for the people that I have in my life today. I think there's a great misconception that I have 100 friends. I don't. I have a very small circle of friends, and for each of them, I'm extremely grateful. I love you guys, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.